What's up, guys? Hades here. So the season is over. The finals and the third place match have been played. We've got two matches to review. I want to look over the finals and just kind of show you the stats we have here. Some of the stats are really fun to look at. We have CUBS as the undefeated champions this year. They really changed the meta. I don't think any server is going to be able to just have their own alliance with all their weak links available. You're going to have to congregate best players on a server if you're going to want to win in the future, and this is just a new meta. You can see server 38 had 4 teams in the top 5, and then Buns had their main alliance here: 170, 56, 105, 193, 73's other alliance, 56. I'm not sure if this is the a new team or a alt team. I'll have to look that up. GN, WV, IMPK first. This is the top 16. I've reviewed pretty much all of these teams. These are all teams that have serious potential if they improve each player, they increase their strategy and their level of play. All of these teams have some serious potential to get in that top 8, top 4 situation, but it's going to take a lot of effort, and CUBS is setting the stage for what it looks like to be a top team. Now, let's jump right into the match. There's a lot to review. Alright, so we have AOW in the top right in the white, and we have CUBS in the bottom left in the red. The spread looks a little something like this. It's not showing, but it is a pretty neutral bottom side. AOW went with a small batch to Tower 1 to maybe secure it, I guess was the plan. They also stepped on each other, which was terrible. And then I'm going to go back just a touch. In the mid here was just absolutely horrid. You can see Snowy was going here, and this player stepped on him. And that, honestly, I've already watched this match in detail. I reviewed it for AOW. I'm going to talk about all the things that just kind of collapse here. Honestly, it was a very poor performance. Snowy is one of the top players in the game, and you cannot be denying someone like that. Also, just gaps like this, forcing other players to move away. They just released all pressure in this corner, lacked a player, lost their advantage for no reason, and it's a huge reason they lose this. Now, the next thing, and you kind of heard it earlier, was the congregation of all the best players from server 73 means there aren't really any weak links. And I'm going to show you right here where the game is actually just lost. Okay, you're going to see, I always talk about battle lines, right? So there's this line down the middle. So this player and this player are kind of in the battle line zone. And just, I'm going to click on their tower, just watch the HP. Every single hit is a kill. And either this person didn't use the correct build, or they weren't defending, or I don't know what happened, but they died almost instantly. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And you're going to see just every hit lands and every hit is a kill, which is just, honestly, it's embarrassing. Like, this was a winning position turned to complete destruction. This lost the game straight up. AOW played a heavy mid focus, lost 2 players for no reason. Snowy just landed. There's already significant damage on these players, right? Had they been able to hold, this would have been a neutral position, and this game wouldn't have crumbled so quickly. Now, looking up at that top, this ended up being a massive waste of players. The 4 that were put here ended up being 3, and 3 versus 7 is just absolutely destruction. AOW did end up winning this side. I think CUBS undercommitted here, so they both made mistakes on each side. Shouldn't have gone for Tower 4, and AOW shouldn't have gone for Tower 1. I think both teams are high enough level where they should have known that by this point. I mean, when you're outnumbered 2-1, you basically can't do anything. You, in theory, with perfect play, 2-1, the team with more than double would never lose a player. Now you can see here, very smart. Lucas is one of the best players in the game. he's already trying to relocate back to middle. He knows it's doomed, and so he already gets himself into a position to be useful, right? And now this like semi-lost middle is just completely lost. And you're gonna see here that those two massive errors I highlighted at the start are just gonna snowball into a defeat, and there's no way to come back from something like this against such strong players. I'm gonna skip forward just a little bit. CUBS has complete control. They take the tower, and there's nothing to do. Now, here's AOW's kind of play against it. They make a very large TP play, and it is successful, but I think this is an overcommit. There's what, 8, almost 10 players here, and then they leave their tower 4 a little bit light, leave home a little bit light. 4 is not a very large number, and now anyone who dies can just come back to this 3. But AOW does keep the game kind of within striking distance because they still do have a point advantage, even though they're down in points because they were down for just a little bit. Now, the next piece of this match is, how does this become a transition back for CUBS? And they play it, I would say, almost perfectly. They put a group of players off to the side. They start weakening the players. They put everyone off on the edges. They start weakening the players. And at this point of the season, CUBS had already had a very high variety of builds. They used a couple of my builds from the Vex game the week before, which is very intelligent. And you know, you can't survive forever. You're gonna take solos, you're gonna get hit, and you're just going to absorb damage, and this is always going to be a loss for AOW. They should have rotated away from this point at this moment. There's just too many CUBS players. I'd actually almost say an overcommit from CUBS, because if anyone dies, again, they're back in spawn and they can come support. They're keeping a very high defense in their mid, and they're keeping a very high defense here, and they're going to win back their home tower very shortly. And now it's on AOW to find another way into the match, because if they don't, it's over, and they know this. And now there's a split effort. Now it's okay, let's go top. But the rotations, again, you can see them they're just more precise on the CUBS side. They're coming back to Tower 1 from here, right? They have plenty of players here. They overcommit players, and they can just cancel if they don't make it. And then this, again, is going to be a stuffed play due to very, very poor relocationing. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. You're going to see here, putting a relocation in these two areas where there's 3 or 4 CUBS around is just, I don't know. I can't even think of the right word. Embarrassing, low IQ. I'm not sure. I know that the AOW members were very frustrated with this play. Like, how is this ever gonna land? This is just a waste. You send a 2-minute relocation, and then you die, and then you have to wait 3 minutes. You wasted 5 minutes of the match for something right next to the opponent. You have to do what CUBS did down here. Make a fortress around in a safe location where they have to overcommit to stop you, or, you know, let you land. And it's just too slow. There's too many people who get denied. There's too great of a number here. The rotation was too slow, and this just gets stuffed. And you're gonna see, slowly it just dies down, and it doesn't work. Now, their next play was middle, and played slightly better, off to the side, around the edges, get a foothold. The players in the middle were actually quite weak at this point. You can see one hit here, half HP here. That player just died, half HP, couple hits, half HP, and a couple of hits, right? So the play was, wow, this looks kind of weak. There's a chance to kind of crack this down and make a play. And you're going to see how this plays out here in just a moment. It doesn't play out, right? It's just too quick of a defense. The top got crushed and rotated back to the middle. TPs were plopped down, and all CUBS has to do is hold this for like another 5 to 10 minutes, and they're just going to win on points. And AOW does make a really nice push down this bottom side here. But you can see the top, just there's nothing left over here. This left side never was able to make a big enough dent to matter. And it just kind of grinds to a halt, essentially. There's just not enough into it. The all-in doesn't quite work. It's denied over and over. The CUBS members have fundamentals. There are no weak links. There's a lot of very strong players, and you're going to see that in the stats here at the end. This actually had a lot of amazing players in it with some high scores, and it was a dynamic game. You can see how many players are going in. It gets to 35 and it gets cleared. Honestly, 35 is not that close with these kind of numbers. You do see AOW has a pretty significant hold of that bottom side, but you can see there's just no one pressuring this top side. If there had been players above peppering them while they go for it, it might have worked. But honestly, with 13 minutes, I don't even think it's enough to hold 3 plus the middle. I think they actually had to also get this top, which was possible. It was actually looking possible. There was one player gets ported, one's half HP, and one's almost done. So there was a serious threat for AOW to get this top. But then you can see here just another relocation not blocked, another relocation not blocked, a rotation failure essentially multiple times in this game. And that pretty much, you know, sums it up. They never end up getting this tower. It kind of just gets pushed back and fizzled out, and CUBS holds the middle. They hold the top. Nothing worked, right? It was just an outplay in almost every way, but I'd also say it was just poor play. Like, I haven't seen some of these big noob mistakes in such a while. The main one being that initial relocation at the start, in the middle, just being blocked in the spot, dying instantly, and then it was in that mid game. The rotations up to this top area were very poor. Very poor. They should have been much crisper, much cleaner. You have to get someone kind of off to the side who can then defend people with a TP to defend, but it just didn't happen. And this was just very slow, very poor. They never ended up getting anything back, and it left CUBS with the victory. Congratulations to Server 73. They played very well. They are definitely going to create a new meta for the future. If you are not congregating your best players, you probably won't stand a chance to be a top 4 team. That's just a fact. I hope the creators add a new twist into next season. We've had the same kind of setup for 3 or 4 seasons now. I hope they add a little wrinkle. I've made a video of 3 things they could add to make IB fresh and new and feel nice again. So if you haven't seen that one, go check that out. Let's look at the stats real quick, because I think the stats tell a pretty big story. Now, looking at battlefield contribution, you can see here, no one hit the 2 mil mark because everyone's builds are pretty solid. It's really hard to last against good players. But 21 people with 1 million is kind of crazy. And then AOW actually had 15. So high level match. Lots and lots of exchanges, a lot of high level play. Really pretty cool finals, really. I wish it was a little bit closer. I wish there was not so many massive errors, but yeah, it was fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, leave a comment below, and I'll catch you in the next one.